What's going on, everybody? How's everybody doing? I know I left most of you just a little bit ago. Aaron the Tire's third. Right on, man. Sorry we got started a little late. Bongino wouldn't upload his he wouldn't upload his video, man. I was waiting and I'm going, this is the last time I'm going to get ahead of him, though. I think next week I'm going to stay a day behind. It might be a little annoying to hear like day-old news, but I think I'm going to stay a day behind so that I don't run out ahead of him, because it took him forever to post his frickin' video, man. It just now went up. Just like a couple minutes ago. So, I don't know. Anyway, that's what's going on. We're here now, getting the show on the road. I ain't even going to waste no time. Everybody hold on to your hats. No, wrong one. There we go. This is yet another emergency broadcast of the Sick Pat Patriot channel. Welcome one and welcome all. So sit back, kick off your shoes, and prepare to enjoy several hours of patriotic input. We've got shenanigans, chicanery, and tomfoolery by the ton, nagacity, nonsense, and most of all, fun. Never forget that we are part of the greatest nation on the planet and the greatest people ever known. So damn the torpedoes and loose the hounds of war, and enjoy this emergency broadcast of the Sick Pat Patriot channel.
Not available in New Jersey or Hawaii. Some assembly may be required.
Woohoo! Alrighty. Greetings, citizens. Greetings, Bruce Wayne. That's right. Love that like button. Love it. Love the like button. Right on, Don. That's okay. We understand being wasted. It's happened to the best of us. Every once in a while, you're walking down the street, minding your own business, and bam, you accidentally get wasted. I know how that goes. Alrighty, well, since I screwed around and had to wait for Bongino to get here, we might as well jump right into things. I'm not going to waste any time running my yap just yet. We have plenty of yap running coming later on. Here we go with the Don Bear. Two smile quesadilla. I don't know what that is. Okay. Dan Bongino.
Get ready to hear the truth about America on a show that's not immune to the facts with your host, Dan Bongino.
All right, welcome to the Dan Bongino Show. Producer Joe, how are you today?
I'm doing just great, Dano. What a great day it is.
Yeah, I know. There's a lot of news. I've got some audio cuts. Lanny Davis backtracking, making a big U-turn, hitting the emergency brake, doing a big J-turn on this one. And, of course, the media will largely downplay this event in order to talk about phantom FEC violations that everybody and their mother are starting to question now.
Yep.
Because they're just so lost in the anti-Trump quagmire that the media has lost any semblance of credibility at all.
Yep.
It's just unbelievable. It really is. That you have to listen. If you want the truth, listen to this show, because I pick through the cornucopia of stupidity every day and pluck out what you need to know so you have the real facts to analyze what's going on. It's just bizarre. Oh, man, frustrating every day. You just think just once a blind squirrel would catch a nut, right? Not with the media's case. They can't get this thing wrong often enough. All right, today's show brought to you by our buddies at Skillshare. I love Skillshare. My daughter's using it for French. My wife uses it for assistance in developing websites. If you're looking to do a podcast, Skillshare is your place to go. Skillshare is an online learning platform with over 20,000 classes in business, design, technology, and more. To get access to that in the education system costs you hundreds of thousands of dollars. You can take classes in social media marketing, data science, mobile photography, creative writing. You name it, they've got it. Like I said, my daughter's into the French classes. They're great. So whether you're trying to deepen your professional skill set, start a side hustle, or just explore a new passion, Skillshare is there to help you learn and thrive, to keep you learning and thriving. Join the millions of students already learning on Skillshare today with a special offer just for my listeners. Check this out. You're not going to regret it. This is a really great place. It's really highly professionally produced educational products that are invaluable towards enhancing your life. Get 2 months of Skillshare for just 99 cents. That's right. That's right. Skillshare is offering the Dan Bongino Show listeners 2 months of unlimited access to over 20,000 classes for just 99 cents. To sign up, go to Skillshare.com/Bongino. Again, Skillshare.com/Bongino to start your 2 months now. That's Skillshare.com/Bongino. Go check it out. Really terrific. Glad to have him on board. Okay, listen, story number one. Lanny Davis is possibly the dumbest lawyer on the planet. Michael Cohen may be the second. I mean, these guys are unbelievable. Lanny Davis, in case you missed the story, Joe, is, sometimes some viewers missed it. They've been out on vacation. Lanny Davis is the former Clintonista, the Clinton acolyte, the Clinton bootlicker, who, as you've probably seen him, he does a lot of cable news hits. He's a big publicity seeker. He is the former Clinton lawyer who bizarrely is now in some fashion representing Michael Cohen, who was Donald Trump's lawyer, personal lawyer, in Michael Cohen's plea deal now against Donald Trump. In the plea deal, he pleads guilty to a crime that's not a crime. Joe, have you ever heard of such a thing in your life? Pleading guilty to a crime? Yeah, me either. Joe should plead guilty to felony. Joe, you should walk into court just for the sake of advertising on the podcast. Walk into Anne Arundel County Court tomorrow. You live in Anne Arundel County, Joe.
Yes, I do.
And go plead guilty to felonious mopery. We can use it on the show. Bongino, producer, pleads guilty to crime that doesn't actually exist. Michael Cohen pled guilty to a campaign FEC violation that is not, in fact, a crime. I explained it yesterday on the show if you want more details about how the Trump payments to Stormy Daniels, however untoward and unseemly they may be, the Trump organization's payments are not a crime. Matter of fact, they're not even a civil violation. You may not like them. They may not be great. I think we can all agree, but they are not, in fact, a crime. So the question has come up, and I have some answers for you today, about why these guys, two lawyers who you think would have some legal skills. Joe, I'm not a lawyer. You are not either, right?
No.
Would you plead guilty to a crime you did not, one, you didn't commit, and it isn't even a crime?
Oh, hell no.
Okay, great. Either would I.
No.
So I've been wondering all night why these two lawyers, supposed lawyers here, I mean, these guys are supposed to have legal skills. They passed the bar. They have law degrees. Why would they do this? Well, now it's starting to make sense. But before we do that, Joe, do you have the cut ready of Davis with the pardon?
Yes, I do. All
okay,
set.
so let me just explain to you two prongs first about on the 30,000-foot theory here that Lanny Davis may be the worst lawyer on the planet right now. Lanny Davis, number one, gets his client to plea in a plea deal to a non-crime, which I written, by the way, by the prosecutor. The prosecutor writes it up, and Cohen's like, yes, these payments, we admit, Donald Trump told me to do it, and he pleads to a crime that doesn't exist. The payments were not a crime, number one. Number two, Lanny Davis says this about a potential pardon by Donald Trump, which may be, by the way, Joe, the single worst piece of legal advice or legal cooperation I have ever seen in U.S. history.
Not only is he not hoping for, he would not accept a pardon. He considers a pardon from somebody who has acted so corruptly as president to be something he would never accept.
Oh my gosh. This guy's a lawyer? Tell you what, if you were a doctor and you gave similar type advice and said, my client absolutely refuses to take this life-saving medication on principle alone because he objects to the politics of modern pharmaceutical enterprises, you would be like, okay, this is the dumbest doctor on the planet, right?
Gotta be.
You now have a lawyer supposedly protecting the legal interests of another lawyer client who is now on TV publicly in front of millions of people suggesting that he's offered a legal pardon by Donald Trump, that they're not going to take it. And the lawyer's like, yeah, we're not going to take it. We're not going to take naked. No! We need Dee Snider in here now. This Dee Snider from Twisted Sister would have given Michael Cohen better legal advice. Dee, get in here. Get this guy out of there. You can listen. Anybody can represent someone in court. I don't think you have to have passed the bar, right? Dee Snider should get in court and start singing the Twisted Sister song. It would be better legal advice than Lanny Davis is giving Michael Cohen, who, by the way, I don't absolve of any guilt in this either. What is this guy doing? I was on Ingram last night on Fox at 10 o'clock. Jason Chaffetz was filling in, arguing with Richard Goodstein, who, is a good-hearted fellow, although he has the worst ideas I've ever seen. I'm always, it's not personal. He's a nice guy. He just has the wrong ideas, Right. But I was arguing with him last night, and I made this point that, Lanny, these may be the two dopiest lawyers I've ever seen in my life. Guys, Dee Snider would give better advice. If you asked does anyone know Dee Snider? Someone go and ask Dee Snider from Twisted Sister, right? Go and ask him 2 questions. Don't tell him about the podcast. Just say, hey, D, if you're a friend of his, obviously, if you're not, it'd be a weird conversation. If you're a friend of his, go, D, I'm going to ask you 2 questions. I know they may be random, but I just want your answer. D, would you ever plead guilty to a crime that wasn't a crime? Yes or no? Do me a favor. Email me back the answer if D actually responds. I guarantee you he will say, no, I wouldn't. D, question number 2. If you plead to a crime that didn't happen and the President of the United States wants to pardon you, absolving you of the legal consequences of a crime that didn't happen that you pled to, would you or would you not accept the pardon? I can guarantee you D would say, yes, I would accept the pardon. Would someone please get Dee Snider into Michael Cohen camp? Oh, man. Oh, my gosh. Were you not
ridiculous.
See, now we're all right. I was a little fired up this morning. Joe's having serious technical issues. I need to get flowing sometimes. The Dee Snider thing helped me out a little bit.
Yeah, there you go.
Gosh, you know Twisted Sister, right?
Yeah.
Get him in here. I'm going to turn this down a little bit, a little hot, this show.
I'll fix it
but, no, it's all right. Leave it in there. Yeah, but I just turned it down. But thank you. Joe, see, producer Joe to the rescue. Okay, here's some possible explanations here. Lanny Davis is as Clintonista as a Clintonista gets. This guy next to the Podestas is as knee-deep in the Clinton swamp as any human being on the planet.
Amen,
Why
brother.
this guy is representing Cohen is a mystery to a lot of people. I don't know. I can't get in Lanny Davis or Cohen's head. I can only speculate. But I do owe you some kind of an explanation. Clear that this is speculation on my part, because unlike the media that tries to do the Karnak on Donald Trump and pretends to read his mind all the time, I can't read Michael Cohen or Lanny Davis's mind. I can tell you things I know and speculate from there. Here's what I know. Lanny Davis has acted in the past as a representative of a Ukrainian oligarch, a guy by the name of Dmytro Prytash, who is deeply connected to Putin. Mm-hmm. So Lanny Davis, let's be clear, has his own foreign entanglements. I am not suggesting what he did is illegal at all, because it's not. He registered on behalf of a foreign agent.
All right.
I'm simply telling you that these are conflicts in a case investigating what? Russian collusion. Right. Davis has his own entanglements with Russians. Not illegal, but unquestionably some kind of a conflict here, at least ethically. If not, maybe legally. Now, why would he hire Davis? I don't know. Maybe Cohen figures he can curry favor with the liberal left by hiring a Clinton lawyer. And by the liberal left, I mean what, Joe? The media. Maybe Cohen figures he needs to win this case in the court in the court of public opinion, Joe. He needs to look like a white knight to the anti-Trump and liberal media crowd.
Right.
So think about it, right,
Yeah,
Joe?
yeah.
You're associated deeply with Trump, like Cohen. I mean, he was his personal lawyer.
Mm-hmm.
You know the media hates Trump and it's not going to be logical or rational in this case.
Right.
You know the anti-Trump crowd hates Trump. You know the never-Trump crowd hates Trump. You know Democrats up on the Hill hate Trump. Someone says, hey, you know what? I think we should hire a Democrat lawyer. Oh, let's go get Lanny Davis. Maybe the liberal media will start to see us as a turncoat on the Trump team. And then all of a sudden they'll get in our corner too and back us up. That's the only reason I could see hiring this guy.
Everybody hates Donald.
Everybody. So maybe they hire someone they know hates Donald Trump as much in the form of Lanny Davis, or at least Lanny Davis's orbit, if not Davis himself. Now, a couple other things on what happened yesterday. So there's and by the way, forgive me. Yesterday I kept talking about a lawn crime piece. If you're listening in reverse or whatever, it's actually an Epic Times piece yesterday. So forgive me, I said that wrong. But today it is a lawn crime piece. There's a really good lawn crime piece about some possible motives for Michael Cohen pleading to a deal. So D. Snyder, we may have an answer for you here. Pleading to a crime that didn't happen. It's a pretty good piece, super short, very sweet, but gets right to the point. And that is obviously not a right-leaning blog, but they have some good information often. This guy Mitchell always sends me stuff from there, by the way. I read the emails, folks. I just I can't respond to all of them. I'm sorry. The audience has grown so much, it's gotten impossible. But I do read your stuff, so that's why I keep that channel open. One of the reasons, and again, it's speculation, but based on prior experience, is that Cohen's wife may have been targeted, Joe, as well. Now, we've seen this before. We've seen this in the Flynn case, where there were credible allegations against Lieutenant General Mike Flynn.
Right.
That the reason Flynn may have taken a plea deal on the false statements charge, even though it's pretty well recognized, even by the FBI themselves, that Flynn was not lying to the FBI. So the liberals go, oh, but he took a plea. Well, when you look at it in the context of the fact that Flynn's son was being targeted too, it makes a lot of sense. Listen. Well, let me just get to the common things. I'm going to give you some personal experience here. Things you're not going to get anywhere else, because I actually did this kind of stuff. I know how this works.
All right.
If you're telling a Cohen, who, by the way, I didn't mention this part, Cohen's wife, I forget, I think it's Laura, but Cohen's wife, Joe, in the tax charges, the tax avoidance, evasion charges that he was facing, Cohen's wife had signed, according to this law and crime piece, some of the documents herself. So the theory is that given that she may have had some implication based on the fact that she signed some of these tax documents, that she may have had some involvement. That's what led to the speculation in the piece that maybe they said to Cohen, "Hey, Daddy-O, you better plead guilty to this, or you're going to go after we're going to go after your wife too." Now, again, we've seen this before in other cases. Like I said, the Flynn case where they go after a family member. Now, I'm telling you, in my experience, this stuff happens. It's not illegal, folks. I'm not suggesting it's illegal. Is it immoral? I don't know. That's up to you to decide. Is it immoral in this case? I'm not sure. But I've had cases I worked in the past. I remember one specifically where the daughter to the main defendant in the case was intimately involved. She had been involved in some unquestionably illegal financial transactions, and when we brought that up to the client to the defendant in the case, he all of a sudden got real eager to cooperate. I'm sorry. I mean, don't get involved in a criminal enterprise and involve your family too if you don't want your family involved. Now, what's bothersome about the Flynn case is there was no criminal enterprise. The FBI themselves acknowledged Mike Flynn was not deceptive in their interview. So that's why I say, is it immoral then to threaten his kid? Like some places have alleged that your kid, we're going to go after your kid too. I'd say so. In this case, it appears Cohen's wife may have signed some of these documents too. So the theory is that he pled, number one, to a crime that's not a crime in order to get his wife off the hook. So read it. Like I said, I'm not here to make Cohen look good or bad. I'm just here to give you the facts. And I'm telling you that this was a really dumb decision if that's the case. And I think it was done, and Davis agreed to it. The only reason it seems to be is to rope Trump in. Because, Joe, the other tax evasion charges that Cohen pled guilty to have absolutely nothing to do with Donald Trump.
Right.
Davis is a Clintonista. It's obvious the prosecution now in the Southern District of New York, a very, very liberal outfit that was referred the case by Mueller, wants to rope Trump in. How do you rope Trump into a tax evasion charge about Michael Cohen's personal business? Oh, you say that he was directed to violate campaign laws, even when it's not a violation of campaign law. You see where I'm going with this show? This is a fish hook.
I sure do. Yeah.
It's a fish hook to rope in Donald Trump. We're going to throw a Trump charge in there about a campaign violation, but it's not a violation. You're going to plead to it anyway. We're going to go after your wife. Is that what happened? Well, there's some evidence of that. Again, it's not illegal to do that. But to get him to plead to a crime that wasn't in fact a crime is candidly very bizarre. Now, there's some other breaking news on the Lanny Davis Cohen case. This thing gets stranger, ladies and gentlemen, by the day. Here's why I'm having a really difficult time understanding why he hired Lanny Davis. Because on one hand, Davis seems eager through the plea deal, Joe, to rope Donald Trump in, fishhook him into this case to make Donald Trump look bad. Mm-hmm. And Davis has said some things on the news that are questionable, especially about the information Cohen has. So, a couple of days ago, and even up to yesterday, everybody was under the impression that Cohen was cooperating because he was looking to take down Trump now. Davis was involved in this takedown of Trump as his lawyer. Cohen had all this damaging information, which was being hinted at by Lanny Cohen. He has information about the hacking. He has information about the Trump Tower meeting. He has all this information. But yesterday, Lanny Davis, slam on the emergency brake, J-turn, quarter turn of the wheel, slam on the emergency brake, turn around, go in the other direction. Do a bootleg. No, the bootleg is actually where you go in the J-turn is where you go in reverse, and you go from reverse to forward in the same direction. So they do I remember this from Secret Service training school. That was the coolest thing ever, by the way, the bootleg. Going like 80. We had the Camaros at the time. Oh! You do a little quarter turn of the wheel, slam on the emergency brake. Wheels come around. It's incredible. So Lanny Davis makes a big U-turn on these public statements. Let's be clear what I'm saying here. Point number one, the takeaway. That these are the dopiest legal decisions I've ever seen in my life, pleading to a crime that doesn't happen. Point number two, why would he plead with a deal? Maybe because his wife was being threatened. Point number three, Davis, all of a sudden, is now starting to backtrack on some of these allegations that Cohen has all this devastating information. You have that cut ready? Here's Lanny Davis, now all of a sudden, clearing up some misperceptions about the information Cohen has, especially about one key component of the dossier.
I do want to ask you about the Steele dossier, because in that your client has mentioned that he met with Russians in Prague in the summer of 2016.
That's not correct.
So did he go to Prague in the summer of 2016?
Number one, he never went to Prague.
Went to Prague.
Number two, he never mentioned. Number three, there is a public document on the website of McDermott Will and Emery that denies 13 references to Mr. Cohen are false in the dossier, but he's never been to Prague in his life. And by the way, the number of times that falsehood has been repeated, I'm not accusing you, is the classic example that if you mention something a million times and you get Google hits and they're all false, it's still zero.
Wow. You know, big hat tip to Chuck Ross at the Daily Caller, who has been doing just tremendous work on this. If you go to his Twitter feed, I don't know what his Twitter, I think it's at Chuck Ross DC. Just put Chuck Ross in there. You'll find him. He's looks like a redheaded guy. I don't know. I never met him, but you'll see his avatar. This guy's Twitter feed, along with Jeff Carlson, along with Lee Smith and others, is just a goldmine. Paul Sperry, who I'll get to in a minute about the Clinton emails. Oh, Joe, I got some sweetheart stuff on that stuff. All right. On the Clinton email stuff by Paul Sperry. These guys are a wealth of information. You know, when I hear stuff, by the way, from sources, I'm serious. Sometimes I'll go to their Twitter feeds to see if they're hearing the same thing. And then I'll find new stuff I never heard at all. These guys are great. Chuck Ross has been all over this. Folks, understand how profound what was said yesterday is. I'm done using the bombshell thing, because everything's a bombshell. Now, bombshell's lost its meaning because the media doesn't care about any of it. Candidly, either does the Justice Department, it seems, anymore. But understand with Davis, a Clinton acolyte, a bootlicker for the Clintons, who's representing a guy who is now committed to taking down Donald Trump, Michael Cohen, who has claimed for days, if not weeks now, through his legal intermediaries that they have damaging information on Trump, has just put out a nuclear bomb that, by the way, the dossier allegations that Michael Cohen traveled to Prague in the Czech Republic to be the intermediary in a Russian collusion deal with the Trump team is false. He just said it. Hit the 15-second rewind button a couple times and listen again. His own lawyer, who notably cannot stand Trump, is a Clintonista, and Cohen, who is now committed to trying to take down Trump, has just admitted that the stories of Michael Cohen going to Prague to act as the key intermediary in the deal between the Russians and Trump to overthrow the election is false, fake news. Ladies and gentlemen, that is a key tenet, a core on which the entire dossier has been built on. That the Russians colluded with Trump and that Cohen, the lawyer, was the intermediary. Their own anti-Trump lawyer, and Cohen himself, who's trying to take down, it seems, the Trump team at this point, is now admitting in the media, that it's false. That the central component of the dossier is, where was the mainstream media on this? Where was the mainstream media covering this major breaking story? That the document used to spy on the Trump team, let's keep it simple. The document used to spy on the Trump team, the dossier, a key tenet of it was that they were spying on the Trump team because they were colluding, and the big colluder was Michael Cohen, who traveled to Prague to meet with Russians. His own Clinton lawyer just said yesterday, not true. This is categorically false. Now, there's another angle to this. And a hat tip to the Daily Caller. Was it Peter over there? Peter and Chuck Ross. I'm not sure. I think it was Peter Hassan and Chuck Ross. I'm not sure. But I know Chuck Ross was involved in it. But I saw this story too. Is this another one of those fake news stories that are leakarooskies? The dipsy-do leakaroo. Back again. What am I talking about? Folks, regular listeners know that for the last few months, I've been talking about a concerted effort by people, I believe, within the Justice Department to out leakers. Now, if you read the Hill story from last November, there is a Justice Department. This is not speculation on my part. It's the Hill, not a right-leaning outfit. Jeff Sessions has already publicly announced an ongoing investigation to investigate over 20 potential felony leaks of information to the media. This is an ongoing operation. The story is not new. It dates back to November. We're now in what, August? I've told you all that I think a concerted effort to do that have been coordinated leaks of misinformation to see how the misinformation gets out. I use the Miami Vice story all the time from the movie, where they leak the wrong date to 3 or 4 different outlets, giving a different date to each one to find out where the mole is. You get it? If I say to Joe, the deal's going to go down on August 2nd. If I say to Tommy, it's going to go down on August 5th. If I say to Bobby, it's going to go down on August 9th. And a leak gets to the media about August 9th, then who's the leak? Tommy.
Oh.
This is a concerted effort. The fake news stories that have made it into the media, I'm going to tie this to this dossier story in Prague in a second. But I got to give you a little background. Mm-hmm. The fake news stories have been endless. The Don Trump Jr. WikiLeaks story. Don Trump Jr. got a secret key to WikiLeaks about information. What information? The information was already available on the internet. Why? The leak had the wrong date. They were like, he got the information on this date. No, he got the information days later after it had already become public, and he never responded to it. I get emails all the time. He never responded. How do you know he even read it? I believe the date was wrong for a reason. The media reported that. Don Jr., WikiLeaks. Remember the classic, Joe. The classic Joy Behar view moment when she's reading on the air. Mike Flynn was ordered when Donald Trump was a candidate to reach out to the Russians. Joy Behar's like, yeah. She was ready to have Dee Snider come on the set and start singing for her. Right? She laughed just like that. That's right. That laugh. You got that down. She was so stoked, Joy Behar. She thought she had him nailed. What was the problem with the story? The story was right. Mike Flynn was asked to reach out to the Russians. Uh-huh. Along with everybody else after Trump was the president-elect, not when he was a candidate. In other words, he was doing his job. The story was an enormous embarrassment. Brian Ross from ABC was fired because of it. Joy Behar was humiliated again. Well, that's not hard to do. But Joy Behar was humiliated. I believe, again, it was another intentional leak where the story was right to be believable, so the media would report it. Mike Flynn reached out to the Russians. But one key detail was wrong. while Trump was a candidate. It was not the story. It was after he was the president-elect, which makes the story a big fat nothing burger. There were other examples, too. The Deutsche Bank story. I was actually on the set at Outnumbered when that broke. Deutsche Bank's been subpoenaed for Donald Trump's records. Not true. It had nothing to do with Donald Trump personally. It was just another nonsense story. Why do I bring that up? Because two fake news champions, this guy Peter Stone and his partner, in April, Joe, from McClatchy, wrote this story. Two sources familiar with the government have reported that Michael Cohen was in Prague, and he slipped into Prague through Germany in the Schengen zone, and that's why nobody knows about Michael Cohen's trip to Prague, and that's why there's no stamp on his passport. And everybody in April, Joe, wow, I just took off my head cans for a minute, my headset, and it's like doing the show without a headset on. Did you see me do that? Scratch my head?
Yeah.
And I hear in my own voice, because I can't hear it with the headset on. It was like weird. It threw me off. So these two reporters in April for McClatchy report, breaking news. Peter Stone and his buddy there. Two sources are saying Cohen was in Prague. Ladies and gentlemen, this was a devastating story in April. The news cycle, unfortunately, is so fast now, Joe, that stories like that are already lost. Like some of you, some of the listeners who are really into this may remember that. I tweeted about it, often that day. But to their credit, Chuck Ross and Peter over at the Daily Caller were all over it saying, hey, everybody step back and take a breather on this story for a minute. Something doesn't smell right here. Nobody else is confirming it. No other media outlets reporting on it. It just doesn't make sense. I retweeted their oral story today, now questioning that. Now, why was that April story going to be such a bombshell for Cohen? Because, Joe, it would have proved that at a minimum, portions of the dossier were confirmed. Portions. Mm-hmm. What portion of the dossier? Mm-hmm. Obviously, the one that said Cohen was in Prague. Now, it wouldn't have proved necessarily that he was there for nefarious reasons, but it would have shown that Michael Cohen, who swears he was never in Prague, and obviously still swears he was never in Prague, you just heard in the soundbite with his lawyer saying it, would have proved what? Would have proved that Cohen was lying. And folks, that would have been a big deal. Would have been a very big deal. The story now looks like fake news again, and looks like another fake leak from, quote, two sources familiar. Now, why do I say these Peter Stone guy? Because if you read my Twitter feed today, I have a piece up at the Daily Caller from Peter Son and Chuck Ross, where they dig into the history of fake news reporting by these two guys at McClatchy who reported Cohen was in Prague, according to two sources. These were the guys responsible for the story about Breitbart. Breitbart may have been working with Russian bots. No one's that's, by the way, story's not confirmed, as is almost assuredly fake news now. And then they were also the ones that reported on the, disclosure. I work for NRA TV, not the NRA, but I should say that out in advance. They were the ones who also reported on the story about the NRA. The NRA was taking money, and an NRA lawyer from the Russians, by the way, and an NRA lawyer was concerned about this money from the Russians. Fake news. Cleta Mitchell, the lawyer's like, completely false, not true. Not true. So these guys have a history of fake news. So I'm just saying that yesterday's revelation that the anti-Trump lawyer for Cohen and Cohen himself are now conclusively standing by their story in no uncertain terms that Cohen was not in Prague is devastating. Do not let this go. Don't let it go over your head. It's devastating, Joe, because it shows again that almost nothing about the dossier outside of Carter Page traveling to Russia, which everybody knew about, nothing in that document is true, and it was used to spy on an innocent American citizen. Where's the story in the mainstream media? Why isn't it all over the place? I have no idea. My guess is because they've simply lost their minds. All right, I got one other angle on this. I want to move on to another story. But we got to pay for the show. We love our sponsors. Hey, Truth Finder, did you ever meet someone for the first time? You have a bad feeling about them? Happens to me all the time. My antenna go up often. It could be a look or just something they said. There's a way you can find out if your gut instinct is right and correct using the same research tools private investigators use. government public records. But these are hard to sift through, folks, unless you're really skilled at this. Believe me, I did this for a living as an investigator. It's tough. Now you can go to one spot. TruthFinder. TruthFinder provides access to background reports for almost everybody in the country. I did myself on this and was actually shocked at what was out there. I don't mean bad stuff. I just mean the volume of information. Public record information like criminal records, past addresses, contact information, birthdays, and a whole lot more. Go check it out. Protect yourself and your family by finding out if someone has a few dangerous felonies on their record. Yeah, I mean, this is interesting stuff. You're going to need to know that if these people are around you and your family. Look up the addresses of an old friend or find out if someone is lying about their age. Military veterans even use TruthFinder to get in touch with people they've served with. I really love this site. My listeners can now get 15% off when you visit truthfinder.com/Bongino. That's truthfinder.com/Bongino and become a member today. You'll get unlimited background checks. And as a bonus, you'll get access to TruthFinder's dark web monitoring. Protect yourself against identity theft. Just go to truthfinder.com/Bongino for 15% off and enter a name to pull your first report. That's truthfinder.com/Bongino. Really easy to use, folks, and definitely worth your time. Truthfinder.com/Bongino. You okay? You're like moving
I'm
all
just
around.
looking for some stuff, technical stuff around the office here.
Yeah, Armacost. He looks like he's like trying to itch his athlete's foot or something like that. So
No, I do that before we started.
Yeah, did you? I'm like, what does he do? You don't actually have athlete's foot, but it was funny. You're like, yeah, I see him. He's like bopping around. I'm like, what is he doing over there? It weirded me out a little bit. All right, one final note on this Lanny Davis, Michael Cohen story. Showing you, by the way, again, that this guy's got nothing. They took a plea to a crime that didn't happen. I think they took the plea because it may have been some pressure put on Cohen's wife. The major bombshell yesterday was not even that they took the plea. It was that Cohen is now entirely debunking, despite his commitment to hurting Donald Trump at this point. Cohen is now entirely debunking the dossier used to target the Trump team, and the media's left that alone. They've almost completely left it alone. One last point. Cohen had seemed to intimate and hint at to the audience he was trying to play to, which I think is the anti-Trump audience, because he's trying to win public favor, get some donations to his website, which I'm not going to mention. So there were some hints, Joe, that Cohen's got information on the Trump Tower meeting. Remember the Trump Tower meeting? Don Trump Jr. takes the meeting with Akhmetshin and Veselnitskaya, who, by the way, are both connected to Fusion GPS, hired by Hillary.
Yeah.
The Trump Tower meeting. Oh, this has been the source of every Democrat narrative from day one. It's that they colluded. It's that they tried to collude, even though no information was exchanged at the meeting, which is absolutely bizarre. But this Trump Tower meeting is the key to the Democrats' entire case. They love this thing. They can't stop talking about it. Cohen was like, hey, Davis said, we may have some information, hinting that they were going to blow the roof off this Trump Tower meeting, that Donald Trump Sr. knew about it, that this collusion meeting with the Russians, Trump Sr. knew about it. Again, Joe, emergency break, turning around, heading back it up. It reminds me of this friend. I have this friend, right? This cop friend of mine. He's a great guy. One time they go to a restaurant with my brother in Cold Spring Harbor. And he orders a steak, and they send out what he thinks are 2 steaks. So he looks at it, and he goes, hey, he says to my brother, hey, Joe, you want to take one of these steaks? So my brother's like, hell yeah, I'll take one of the steaks. So he takes one of them, he starts eating it. My buddy goes, time out. Back it up. Turned out the other thing wasn't a steak. It was like a potato that it looked like a steak or something. So he's like, back it up. Before my brother even got to sink into that. It's a true story, by the way. My friend listens to the show. He'll laugh about it. That actually, back it up. So all of a sudden, Lanny Davis is backing it up too. Just a day ago, we were going to find out from Cohen all this information about the Trump Tower. Trump Tower, Don Trump knew. Don Trump Sr. knew. This was a big collusion thing. Not so much, Joe. Another report from the Daily Caller in the show notes today. Getting mega shout-outs in my show notes. Please read them. They're really, really good. I put a lot of work into them. Available at Bongino.com. And if you don't mind, subscribe to the email list. We'll email them right to your inbox. Davis, this is from the Daily Caller, I think. Davis was asked about the Trump Tower report because of a statement issued on Tuesday by North Carolina GOP Senator Richard Burr, no big Trump fan, by the way, and Virginia Democratic Senator Mark Warner. To call him an anti-Trumper is probably understatement of the year. The leaders of the Senate Committee on Intelligence. The senators said in the statement that Cohen told the committee, Joe, in October of 2017, what did he say? That he was not aware of the Trump Tower meeting, until it was reported in July of 2017. Oh, so under oath, you said in a Senate meeting, Michael Cohen, in contrast to what you've been hinting at in public recently in your efforts to take down Trump, you said that Trump didn't know about it and that you were not aware of it either? Wow. Burr and Warner said Cohen's legal team confirmed that the testimony was accurate. All of a sudden, big U-turn. Why? Now they're like, oh, okay, now you're saying you know about the Trump meeting? You didn't tell us that under oath. Why don't you come back in? Let's see if we have one of these perjury, lying to Congress charges for you now. Now they're changing their story. Now Davis is saying, no, not only did Cohen not go to Prague, because he said that before too, but now our statements about Trump not knowing about the Trump Tower meeting are in fact correct. You see where I'm going with this, folks?
Yeah.
The Davis thing and the Cohen thing is a big nothing burger. The media is trying to paint this out like this is the big John Dean moment, that they've got this guy who's going to rat out the entire Trump team. Do you understand there is no there? Please listen to me. There is nothing there. Stop worrying so much. This is a concerted effort by the Mueller team to take down the Trump team, and they will continue to target Trump people. It will be an endless witch hunt. But regards to Trump specifically, take it to the bank, cash this check, and spend the money. Donald Trump has no legal liability in this at all. I am telling you, there is no there on the collusion thing. Every single angle they have taken in this thing has absolutely fallen apart. There is nothing there. They are spinning their wheels. They are making martyrs out of people left and right, and they are ultimately going to lose because you cannot go back to the future like Michael J. Fox and back into the past and sing Johnny B. Good on stage and reinvent rock and roll. There was no crime. You cannot go back into the past and invent a crime that did not happen. There is nothing there. Trump knew about the Trump Tower meeting. I take that back. No, he didn't. We were just kidding.
Whoopsies.
Whoopsie. My bad. Yeah. Nelson Muntz. Nelson Muntz moment. Bart falls out of the tree and breaks his arm after Nelson. And Nelson goes, but I said like it's supposed to go away. The Prague story. No, that's not true either. Is anything true? The Mueller case is an abomination. They have nothing. By the way, I have a really good piece from Epic Times again up in the show notes today, just with regards to that Trump Tower meeting. I'll just keep it short, but Rinat Akhmetshin, who was a former Russian intelligence associated individual who showed up at that meeting with Veselnitskaya, the lawyer working for Fusion GPS, is a key question asked by this guy Brian, who writes at Epic Times that I have in the show notes today. The key question he asks is, why is nobody talking about the fact that Akhmetshin was unquestionably tied to Fusion GPS? Now, this is a big... I know it seems elementary to you regular listeners, but if the key tenet of the Trump Tower meeting is the Trump Tower meeting was an effort at collusion, but the people who showed up were not working for the Russians, but working for people working for Hillary. The only collusion could have been by the Hillary team with the Russians. Joe, does that make sense? Yeah. Now, the reason this guy Brian writes about this in Epic Times, and I'd like you to read the piece, is he goes back to a keynote Bruce Orr took in his conversations with Glenn Simpson. Glenn Simpson managing the Fusion GPS operation here. Simpson apparently told him that much of the collection about Trump, the Trump campaign, ties to Russia. Excuse me. Much of the collection about the Trump campaign ties to Russia comes from a former Russian intelligence officer. That's what Simpson told Bruce Orr in the Justice Department. This is the guy managing the anti-Trump operation for Hillary. Ladies and gentlemen, how many Russian intelligence officers are there in the United States? Or formers? Is he talking about Akhmetshin? Do you understand how devastating this is to the entire case then? That the guy, Joe, who showed up at the meeting with Don Jr. was a former Russian intelligence officer working for a company hired by Hillary? The collusion then is between Hillary and the Russians, not the other way around. That's the key takeaway from this. That's why this Trump Tower meeting is so devastating to the Hillary team, not to Don Trump Jr. Don Jr.'s already released all the information he has about this. Important piece, though. Read it. All right, on the Hillary stuff, I'm going to get to that in a second. This is key, too. All right, before we get to that, the Quipsters. We love Quip. Like a power washing for your mouth. Of course, if you power wash your mouth, you probably lose your face, but Quip has solved that problem. You don't want to take a power washer to your mouth, but you do want to take a Quip toothbrush because your mouth will never feel better. I heard the Quip commercial by one of the managers on the owners on Sirius, and he mentions the word this pristine clean, and I think he's right because that's how it feels. When it comes to your health, brushing your teeth is one of the most important parts of your day. Quip knows that. They've combined dentistry and design to make a better electric toothbrush. Quip is the new electric toothbrush that packs just the right amount of vibrations into a slimmer design at a fraction of the cost of bulkier traditional electric toothbrushes. And guiding pulses alert you when to switch sides, making brushing the right amount of time effortless. Makes it super easy. Tells you when to start, when to stop, when to switch sides. Comes with a mount that suctions to your mirror and unsticks. You can use it as a cover when you travel, which is great. And because the thing that cleans your mouth should also be clean, Quip's subscription plan, which I have, refreshes your brush on a dentist-recommended schedule, delivering new brush heads every 3 months for just $5, including free shipping worldwide. Quip is backed by a network of over 10,000 dental professionals, including dentists, hygienists, and dental students. This brush is awesome. Please pick it up. You will love it. Most toothbrushes don't get named one of Time Magazine's best inventions of the year, but Quip did. You pick it up, you'll find out why. Quip starts at just $25, and if you go to getquip.com/Dan, that's getquip.com/Dan, getquip.com/Dan, you'll get your first refill pack free with a Quip electric toothbrush. Go to getquip.com/Dan. Don't miss out. Great toothbrush. Everybody in my family uses it, and you will feel great afterwards. You'll be like, ah. Okay. Another great piece in the show notes, which is terrific. From Paul Sperry, Real Clear Investigations. This is a long one, so I just want to prepare you. If you're going to dig into this, get ready. The piece is about, I don't know, looks like about 2,000 words. I got through it this morning. And more incredible revelations from Sperry, who appears to have a source intimately familiar with the Weiner laptop and the Hillary investigation. The Hillary investigation was an abomination of justice. It was a disgrace to humankind. Don't even associate the Hillary investigation with the word justice because it wasn't. But here are some of the key takeaways, Joe. Anthony Weiner, who was a former congressman, was a Clintonista himself. Right. Anthony Weiner was married to Huma Abedin, who, trust me, from my time in the Secret Service, is Hillary Clinton's right-hand woman. They are thick as thieves, these two. They go everywhere together. No one is closer to Hillary Clinton than Huma Abedin. No one. Abedin's married to Weiner. Abedin, at some point, forwards information, whether through an automatic download, whatever it may be, forwards emails she gets from Hillary on the private server. Because remember, Hillary never had a .gov. It was a Clinton.com email address. That was the whole scandal, Hillary's private email. You all know that. At some point, Abedin forwards this information to a computer that Anthony Weiner has access to. Anthony Weiner is then accused of sexting with an underage girl. New York law enforcement officials, NYPD and FBI, New York field office, important distinction, not headquarters, seized the laptop and find a bunch of Clinton emails. Many of you are familiar with the story. Like, okay, Dan, what's the breaking news? Well, Sperry apparently has a good source with some interesting new developments on the case, which are going to create some heavy friction for Jim Comey. Now, Jim Comey, they waited a while to start reviewing this. Remember they reopened the Clinton case and then closed it right before the election. Yeah. One of the IG, what's his name? Michael Horowitz, excuse me. One of the IG, the Inspector General, like the Internal Affairs guy who's been reviewing this Clinton case, one of his open questions here is what was with the delay in reviewing the emails? They got them, and it was this 1 month delay where everybody was like, why are they waiting? Well, Comey has said in the past, and I'm quoting, that they reviewed all ALL, the communications in the email, due to some, quote, technical wizardry they had. Now, that's amazing, Joe, considering that the FBI agents that reviewed the emails, according to this new piece, reviewed them in a 12-hour shift. Now, Joe. There were... This is so dumb that, again, we're all dumb. This is the Billy Madison thing. We're all dumber for having heard. We're all dumber. I'm going to pull that cut. Billy Madison. We're all I award you no points. There were 694,000 emails. Now, I just read my book for Audible, the Spygate book. It's 77,000 words, which is a, decent-sized book. Joe, how long do you think that might have taken me to do? Yeah, I'll give you a multiple choice. Reading 77,000 words. You think it took an hour, 12 hours, or close to 60 hours?
Probably 12.
60.
60?
But I'm glad you said that. Now, if we had 694,000 emails that were one word each, that would probably take you close to, what, a month to get through on a reasonable workshop? If they had 3 agents working on it.
Yeah.
What I'm trying to tell you is there is no possible way they reviewed 694,000 emails. It's not possible. But, the FBI's technical wizardry that Comey said, Joe, yeah, I know. We got to be careful. We're on video. You said, if the audience only knew, right?
Right, exactly, yeah.
What Comey said they did is they found a way to determine what emails were duplicates that they'd already reviewed in the past. Remember, because the Weiner case was a reopening of the email case, Joe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
It was not the case. It was So Comey had suggested that due to some technical wizardry, they had found a way to wipe out the duplicates, and therefore they only had to review 3,000 emails, which I guess in a 12-hour shift with 3 people, if they're short, may be possible. I don't know. The problem is, as Sperry points out in his piece, the technology didn't work. Oh, so there was no technical wizardry. In other words, you reviewed 3,077 of 694,000 emails, and you're not even sure that those 694,000 emails were reviewed in the past? You just said they were? Folks, this is kind of a big deal.
Yeah.
Because we're talking about information classified at the highest levels of the United States government, the State Department, and we are also talking about known email exchanges Hillary Clinton had with who? President Barack Obama. We now know she emailed Obama on her private email, making him a key component to the entire email scandal and potentially a witness. Andy McCarthy at National Review and a Fox News contributor now has mentioned this multiple times, that the real incentive for the Obama administration to make the Hillary email case, and the Justice Department, by the way, the real incentive for them to make this case go away was not just to save Hillary, but was to save Obama. Because Obama's on some of those emails. My point is this. If you had 694,000, of which you only reviewed 3,000, you're claiming the other 690+ thousand of them that, oh yeah, we don't have to review them because they're duplicates, while you're simultaneously claiming technical wizardry that doesn't exist, that the deduplication technology you claim to have did not work. What am I telling you, Joe? That there are emails out there in the ecosystem of email that may be devastating to Hillary and Obama. Now, couple of takeaways. Here's a quote from the piece from Paul Sperry's source. This piece is making its rounds heavy on Twitter today. Sperry's source. Most of the emails were never examined, even though they made up potentially 10 times the evidence they had. Folks, what the heck else is out there? Now, regular listeners, a lot of the conspiracy components to this, the actual conspiracy to suppress the evidence in the Hillary case, are not new. But this source's information is very new. Key takeaways in the Sperry piece, because it's very long. I suggest you read it, but I'll sum it up for you. Number one, there is absolutely no way they reviewed all the emails. The duplication technology failed. Second, the body of evidence out there that hasn't been reviewed yet is potentially 10 times the emails we've seen. Number 3, are any of those emails to Obama, and what the heck do they say? Number 4, why was no damage assessment done? What does that mean? Joe, if we were to catch you as a foreign Russian spy, one of the first things the intelligence community does is a damage assessment of what you may have given up.
Yes.
Why was no damage assessment done by the intelligence community on the Clinton emails and what information foreign actors or others may have? I think we all know the answer to that. The answer is you don't ask questions you don't want answers to. Simple as that. Another takeaway. Sperry's source believes that Quantico may potentially still have either copies of or the original Wiener laptop. May. Read the end. It's at the end of the piece. Now, if that's the case, and the Justice Department right now isn't looking into this, we have an even bigger scandal than we thought, and everybody in the management level of the Justice Department associated with that decision should step aside. Everybody should be asking their congressman and congresswoman today, what are we doing about that Wiener laptop and those emails? Is there a copy? If there is a copy, are we looking at it? If there's not, why did they give the computer back? And you should be asking your congressman, too, I want to see that deduplication technology. Because if it doesn't exist, Jim Comey lied. Lied, period. Final takeaway is the Obama emails again. Are there Obama emails on there? How knee-deep was Barack Obama in this? All right, one last story and we'll run for the day. Made a lot going on. I'm sorry I didn't get to some of the other. There's so much going on. It's just like an endless tide of news. Sometimes it's tough staying ahead of it, but I want to give you the most important stuff and takeaways of the day. CBS just embarrassed itself again. You know, I applaud Donald Trump for watching Tucker Carlson last night to talk about a really disturbing international story that isn't getting a lot of mainstream media publicity. Why? I have no idea. Again, I can't get in their heads other than the fact that I know most of them are liberal. But South Africa has taken upon itself, Joe, to confiscate or begin the process of confiscating land from landowners, basically based strictly on their skin color. It's not a joke. This is happening. The process has been started. Publicly, Ramaphosa has already discussed this. So Donald Trump mentioned it on his Twitter feed after watching Tucker Carlson's piece on it last night. Amazingly, CBS has gone through efforts to debunk this story. Ladies and gentlemen, this is happening. This is actually happening in the world today, where hardcore, real-world racist policies are being instituted at a government level in South Africa, and the process is on its way. Why CBS and them are doing efforts to run interference for South African policies, racist policies, I can't tell you. But the fact, is it just strict Trump derangement syndrome and anti-Trump behavior? I have no idea. But this is actually happening. CBS is actually targeting this. Oh, you know what? One more thing, too. I have a story up at the end of the show notes. Check it out because it talks about the expansion of the welfare state. That story was just about CBS and the media buys. But 52.1% of kids under the age of 18, Joe, are now living in homes that are getting some form of means-tested government welfare program. Ladies and gentlemen, this is incredible. Wow. This is unacceptable. We are not even willing to have the fight anymore. Is this really where we want to be, and can we afford this? The government is not help. I'm sorry. And we should take that fight right to the liberals. We are incentivizing really behaviors that are not going to lead to the long-term prosperity of anyone. This is not a safety net anymore. 52%. Read the story. It's from CNS News up at the show notes. All right, folks, thanks again for tuning in. We recovered nicely yesterday. Great day of listenership. I really appreciate it. Please, I implore you to subscribe to the show. It is free. It's available on iTunes, Spotify, SoundCloud. You can enable the skill on Amazon Alexa. You can enable it on Google Play. They have a podcast app on Google Play. It really matters to us. The subscriptions drive us up the charts, so we really appreciate it. Thanks a lot, folks.
You just heard The Dan Bongino Show. Get more of Dan online anytime at conservativereview.com. You can also get Dan's podcasts on iTunes or SoundCloud. And follow Dan on Twitter 24/7 at DBongino.
Right on. DBongino. So let's see. Ivana had a rough day, and Chameleon Lizard, Raul had a long day, and Bruce was able to pray his computer back to life. Man, we are some rockin' mofos up in here. Just a little assy. Assy McGee. All right, you hurry back. All right. Well, because Bongino was late getting his shit out. That's right, I'm going to continue to blame him because he was late today. It was almost 8:15 when he finally posted his video. The one we just watched. He's going to have to get on his job, man. I may have to email that man. I need your videos out by 7:30, dude. Oh, my goodness. So what I did was I downloaded a bunch of independent individual stories to kind of make up the time. And I figured we could play one and then talk and then play one and talk and then play one and, I don't know, throw rocks at the dogs or something. We'll see how this goes.
Well, Jeff Sessions keeps a streak alive. Another deep state crook gets off scot-free, by Jim Hoff for the GatewayPundit.com. Another deep state crook walks. The Department of Justice declined to prosecute a corrupt FBI agent who took gifts and money from a confidential human source, quote, spy. The FBI agent also protected sources' illegal business and misused the FBI assets for personal gain. The Jeff Sessions DOJ declined to prosecute, CNS News reported. The Department of Justice has declined to prosecute an FBI special agent whom the department's Inspector General determined had received money from a former FBI confidential human source, had protected that source's illegal business, had provided false information to a local police department, and had misused FBI assets for personal gain. The Inspector General referred this FBI agent's case to the Department of Justice, but DOJ would not prosecute. Criminal prosecution of the SA was declined, Special Agent. The IG said in a publicly released summary of the investigation. DOJ declined to respond to questions that CNSnews.com asked it about this case. Okay, we don't comment on referrals, a DOJ spokesperson said. The Office of Inspector General of the U.S. Department of Justice released its investigative summary of the case on August 6. They don't mention who this person was. Who could it be? We don't know. But another deep state crook walks, and 0 indictments of the deep state under Jeff Sessions. Well, are we surprised? No. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. And again, thank you so much for watching.
Yeah, this is the guy, right? And this is what I'm getting at. This Q dude keeps saying, trust Sessions, trust Sessions. Sessions is useless, man. He is absolutely useless. He is supposed to be taking cues from the president. When the president moves in one direction, he's supposed to go, okay, what do I do in that direction? If there's nothing for you to do there, that's fine. But if you see what direction things are going, it is your job as AG to understand that's what the president wants and enact the president's agenda. This motherfucker thinks if he runs around chasing people, smoking joints and shit, that's how he's going to support the president's agenda. He's useless. He's worse than useless because Rosenstein is controlling him. That's right. They won't bust anybody that'll implicate the Clintons. This is all a scrub job, and Sessions is letting them use him. Rosenfuck has that dude buffaloed, man. Yes, useless, the white-skinned Yoda with his Yoda-looking ass. Holy crap, man. This dude, Trump should have fired him last year. Last year. And put somebody worth a fuck in there. Get Judge Judy in there. I bet she, or I mean not Judge Judy, Judge Janine. Judge Janine Pirro, I bet she doesn't sit on her hands. I bet she doesn't let all these motherfuckers walk. I bet she don't. Yeah, Judy, I'm a little pissed right now, so I wasn't thinking clearly. Judy, Janine, whatever. Well, what the fuck, man? This dude is absolutely disgustingly useless. He is controlled. He has been... Trey Gowdy, I don't even know about that, man. I don't think I trust him anymore. He went left to center on us a couple of times, and I'm not sure he's not in somebody's pocket. Now, Judge Judy wouldn't be great at all. He's going into legal business? Yeah. Yeah, he's supposed to, he wants to get out of politics anyway, but I'm 80% convinced he's in somebody's pocket because he flipped so fast on a couple of occasions that that's the only thing that really explains that. He's in somebody's pocket somehow. Or somebody's in his pocket, one. I don't know. It's hard to say which. Yeah, Judge Janine Pirro, yeah. Yeah, where's Roy Bean when you need him? Holy shit, that guy was amazing. Shot some dude in his courtroom and then fined him $20 for loitering. You gotta love that. He does have his moments, I'm not gonna lie. Look, he's good at what he does. When he's on his square, there aren't many people that measure up to Trey Gowdy's professional skill level. And I'm not saying that's not the because that's not the case, because it certainly is. That dude, he knows his business. And when he was a prosecutor, I would not have wanted to be in front of that dude. I would not have been up ahead against Trey Gowdy as a prosecutor, because he's a beast. He knows his business, and he dots all his I's and crosses all his T's. Yeah, Judge Janine's kind of hot. Not bad for a 60-year-old woman, huh? We should all look that good when we're 60. She's your age, yeah.
Giuliani demands the DOJ investigate 2016's biggest campaign finance violation. The Dossier by Amy Moreno for TruthFeedNews.com. President Trump's personal attorney, Rudy Giuliani, just put Jeff Sessions' DOJ on blast for doing nothing. Giuliani took to Twitter and called out Hillary Clinton's campaign for paying for a debunked dossier hit piece on President Trump. Wake up, he stated, as he demanded to know where the indictment was against Clinton's camp. If there is any justice left at the DOJ, why is payment by Hillary Clinton and DNC to Fusion GPS for the phony Steele dossier not under investigation? On our theory in Cohen's plea, it's an illegal campaign contribution. Let's go, DOJ. Wake up. Where's the indictment? Clinton's not above the law. Well, as you can see, where's the investigation into Hillary Clinton? The biggest campaign finance violation into Hillary Clinton. Where is that? Oh, Uber is investigating that too? Is that, then why is Giuliani and nobody's mentioning Uber? Why is nobody mentioning Uber? The last article was sometime in April or March of April of this year. I mean, where is the investigation that's taking place? So, you know, I mean, I'm not going to sit and believe in fairy tales. Do you see what I'm saying? I mean, you may disagree with me, but I'm going by what I'm seeing in the news. And the news is Mueller is not working with Trump. Get that out of your minds, because that's not happening. And Sessions is not working behind the scenes at all, to my knowledge. Now, you may disagree, but I do not believe this, because this has been going on long enough, and the only people that are being under investigation are the Republicans, and this witch hunt is continuing, and Mueller's on his happy way. He's not going to pack it in at September 7th that Giuliani told him September 7th so not to interfere in the elections. This is going to go throughout Trump's campaign, believe you me. And Mueller, he's not stopping September 7th. He's not writing up his report. I highly doubt that. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. And again, thank you so much for watching.
Hell yeah. So yeah, again, another example of Sessions flipping and slipping. And that's kind of what these are all about. I'm waiting for Trump to finally get tired. He's been talking about firing this dude, man. And finally, Jeff Sessions awakens and replies to Trump possibly firing him.
Minutes ago, Sessions awakens from his nap after President Trump blasts the alarm bells by US4Trump.com. President Trump slammed Attorney General Jeff Sessions Thursday morning on Fox News in an interview for being dishonest with the American people and hiding his recusal until after his appointment. Following the interview, Attorney General Jeff Sessions released a statement on defending the corruption plagued by the Department of Justice. Attorney General Jeff Sessions replied back to the president's comments Thursday for saying he never took control of the Justice Department. Related to special counsel Robert Mueller's probe, President Trump said during the interview Jeff Sessions never took control of the Department of Justice, and it's sort of an incredible thing. But Sessions woke up and issued a written statement. Minutes ago, Sessions awakens from his nap after President Trump blasts the alarm bells. Sessions wrote on Thursday, "I took control of the Department of Justice the day I was sworn in, which is why we have unprecedented success at effectuating the president's agenda, one that projects the safety and security rights of the American people, reduces violent crime, enforces our immigration laws, promotes economic growth, and advances religious liberty." Yeah, but that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about the witch hunt. He went on to say, "While I am Attorney General, the actions of the Department of Justice will not be improperly influenced by political considerations. I demand the highest standards, and where they are not met, and when they are not met, I take action." Really? We haven't seen any action in the Mueller case, only stonewalling to get any documentation from the DOJ. Fox News reports the president for months has railed against Sessions over his recusal, but the Attorney General has hung on, occasionally pushing back publicly. He's got the nerve to do that too. The president discussed Sessions when asked in the Fox News interview if he would fire his Attorney General and Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein after the midterms. He didn't rule it out, but said he wanted to stay uninvolved for the time being. then he's going to come out swinging. Mark my words, after the midterms, you're going to see Trump come out swinging. They're going to all be shocked. Sessions recused himself in 2017 due to his involvement with the Trump campaign per Justice Department regulations. It was false anyway why he recused himself. He should have just unrecused himself again. Rosenstein, his deputy, was then named to oversee the investigation. He appointed Mueller as special counsel. President Trump quoted legal analyst Greg Jarrett earlier in August saying they were all in on it. Clear Hillary Clinton and frame Donald Trump for things he didn't do. Greg Jarrett on Fox and Friends. If we had a real attorney general, this witch hunt would have never have been started. Looking at the wrong people. You think? Watch below. Attorney General Jeff Sessions is firing back at President Donald Trump for saying he never took control of the Justice Department. Whatever. He's such a...
Asked for a meeting with the president on prison reform. It follows another volley of criticism that the president fired at Jeff Sessions in an interview with Fox and Friends' Ainsley Earhardt that aired this morning. Ainsley asked the president if he was going to fire Jeff Sessions. The president ducked that part of the question, but again leveled criticism at Sessions for recusing himself from the Russia investigation and accused Sessions of being a weak leader. Listen here.
The Dems are very strong in the Justice Department. I put an attorney general that never took control of the Justice Department, Jeff Sessions, never took control of the Justice Department, and it's a sort of an incredible thing. I always put justice now with quotes. It's a very, very sad day. Jeff Sessions recused himself, which he shouldn't have done.
In a preemptive strike before heading over to the White House today, the Attorney General released a statement basically saying he won't be bullied by the president. Quote, "While I am Attorney General, the actions of the Department of Justice will not be improperly influenced by political considerations. I demand the highest standards, and where they are not met, I take action. However, no nation has a more talented, more dedicated group of law enforcement investigators and prosecutors than the United States." Sources tell Fox News that Sessions wanted to get that statement out before coming over here to the White House because it's well known around here in Washington that he's the president's favorite piñata. So he wanted to wield his own stick, Chef, before coming over here.
Can't really fire him though, because that would put Rod Rosenstein in charge of everything, and this is not a means to the end he wants.
No, and you know there's a large belief here in Washington that Sessions will remain the Attorney General at least through the midterm elections. After that, it's anybody's bet as to what happens.
In that interview, the president talked about impeachment.
There's going to be a surprise.
He did. You know, there's been a lot of talk here around Washington as to whether or not the president might face criminal charges. The more likely case, a lot of people believe, is the potential for the president to face impeachment charges if Democrats were to take control of Congress after the November election. For his part this morning, the president thought that impeachment would be a terrible idea, that it would reverse all of the economic gains that the United States has made since he was elected. Listen to what the president said.
I don't know how you can impeach somebody who's done a great job. I'll tell you what, if I ever got impeached, I think the market would crash. I think everybody would be very poor, because without this thinking, you would see numbers that you wouldn't believe in reverse.
Well, a lot of Democrats already are on board the idea of impeachment. Most political experts don't think that it's something that would happen, even if the Democrats were to take control of Congress and were to vote out articles of impeachment to the Senate. The Senate, because you need a two-thirds majority, likely wouldn't convict. The same thing happened in 1999 with Bill Clinton. There was political blowback against the Republicans, so Democrats fear that as well. And Rudy Giuliani, in an interview that he just completed with Sky News over in the UK a short time ago, said that if this president were to be impeached, Giuliani expects that there would be a people's revolt here in the United States. Shep?
John Roberts, live at the White House. Thank you.
You think? Does this sound like an attorney general that is for Trump?
You know,
let's find it. I don't remember where it is.
Large belief here in Washington.
The president talked
is the more likely to take control of Congress after reverse all of the economic investigators and prosecutors than the United States considerations. While I am Attorney General, the actions of the Department of Justice will not be improperly influenced by political considerations. I demand the highest standards, and where they are not met, I take action.
So, Hillary, in your terms, Sessions has functioned at the highest standards, huh? You didn't take any action against Hillary. Are you kidding me, Sessions? You're going to tell me Sessions isn't deep state? Do you think President Trump should fire sleepy Jeff Sessions? For the love of God, do something. Yeah, it's not that he's sleepy. He's a deep stater. What political, what highest standards is he talking about? What high standards?
No nation has a more talented, more dedicated group of law enforcement investigators.
So they're all under investigation, criminal investigation. All his, a lot of them, Strzok, Page, McCabe fired, Comey fired. All of these people, law enforcement, more talented, more dedicated. I mean, we're not talking about everybody. No, not at all. But you can't even come out and say that. The DOJ is a mess. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. And again, thank you so much for watching.
Hell no. Fucking Trump. He needs to get rid of this dude, man. He needs to get rid of Sessions, and he needs to do it fast. This douchebag is beyond useless. He just annoys the shit out of me sitting there doing nothing. And then, like, dicking around with all this extraneous crap that doesn't even matter, acting like he's getting something done for the president. It's disgusting. Good, I'm taking the dog, Tanya. Oh my goodness. Okay, there we go.
Happening now. Key Republicans back Trump, give him a clear path to fire Sessions, by Amy Moreno for TruthFeedNews.com. Clearly, President Trump is frustrated and disappointed in Jeff Sessions, who has shown him no loyalty, nor has he fought for him. Why didn't Jeff Sessions tell President Trump that he planned to recuse himself from all things Russia? If he had, President Trump could have picked someone else, so he was not left so vulnerable. As it stands now, we've gone from a fake Russia probe to now campaign finance violations, and not a peep from Sessions. President Trump has said he would have never picked Sessions had he known he would recuse himself. Now Senate Republicans are signaling to Trump that they support him to fire Sessions after the midterms. Bloomberg. Two key Republican senators signaled to President Trump that he could replace Attorney General Jeff Sessions after the midterm elections in November, a move that would open the way for firing Robert Mueller or constraining his probe into Russian meddling in the 2016 election. The president's entitled to an attorney general he has faith in, somebody that's qualified for the job, and I think there will come a time sooner rather than later where it will be time to have a new face, and a fresh voice at the Department of Justice. Senator Lindsey Graham of South Carolina, who may be in line to head the Judiciary Committee next year, told reporters Thursday clearly Attorney General Sessions doesn't have the confidence of the president. Senator Chuck Grassley, the current Judiciary Chairman, also changed his position on Thursday, saying in an interview that he'd be able to make time for hearings for a new Attorney General after saying in the past that the panel was too busy to tackle that explosive possibility. Several other Republicans rejected the idea of replacing the Attorney General, while Sessions defended his performance in a statement Thursday. He said, "We have had unprecedented success at effectuating the president's agenda," and added, "While I am Attorney General, the actions of the Department of Justice will not be improperly influenced by political considerations." Really, Sessions? In warning against ousting Sessions before the election, Graham called that possibility a non-starter. That would create havoc with Senate efforts to confirm Trump's Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh, as well as with the midterm elections in November. But his statement that such a move could come after the election represents a significant shift from Graham's stance a year ago, when he warned Trump publicly that if he fired Sessions, there will be holy hell to pay. Graham and Grassley spoke at two federal investigations are drawn closer to the president. Mueller's probe is newly energized after the conviction of Trump's former campaign chairman, Paul Manafort. Trump potentially faces a separate Justice Department investigation into campaign violations sparked by the guilty plea of his former lawyer, Michael Cohen. The message from Republican senators was far from unanimous. John Cornyn of Texas, the number 2 Senate Republican, said ousting Sessions would be bad for the country. It would be bad for the president. It would be bad for the Department of Justice for him to be forced out under these circumstances. Senator Susan Collins, a moderate from Maine, said ousting Sessions would not be a wise move, and I don't see the president being able to get someone else confirmed as Attorney General were he to fire Jeff Sessions. Mueller probe. Trump often takes aim at Sessions, a former Republican senator he has attacked and ridiculed for recusing himself from the investigation into Russian interference election that's now being run by Mueller. Trump has called the inquiry into whether anyone close to him conspired with the Russians a witch hunt and mocked the Jeff Sessions Justice Department on Twitter. Graham has provided a sometimes confounding mix of criticism and praise for Trump, who occasionally invites the senator to golf at one of his resorts. It wasn't clear why Graham would publicly predict Trump will take such a politically explosive action, even as the senator said it should be delayed. Graham also urged Trump Thursday not to pardon Manafort. You see this? You see what's going on? Not to pardon Manafort, a possibility the president has acknowledged, or Cohen. If there's a pardon of either one of them, it will be seen as self-serving and it will create a political problem for the president, he said. I don't know what Manafort's done to earn a pardon. He hasn't even been sentenced yet. Yeah, but how about the criminals that Obama has pardoned? And Obama didn't give a crap if people didn't like it. You see, there were a lot of people in an uproar for the criminals that he pardoned, but yet Trump shouldn't do it. I say Trump should do what he's got to do and forget about the public, what the public thinks, the mainstream media, I should say, and the liberals, because enough is enough already. They're gonna bash him any which way you twist it and turn it. At least then they'll be afraid of his moves. You see. Anyway, moving right along. He hasn't even been sentenced yet. Well, Graham's comments about Sessions could be sending a message that Mueller faces a deadline to finish his Russian investigation before November's election that will determine whether Republicans continue to control the House and Senate. If Trump replaces Sessions, who has so far resisted Trump's very public hints that he should resign, a new attorney general could take over the investigation and fire Mueller or cripple his probe. That's exactly what we need. Trump wouldn't need to wait until his new choice for attorney general was confirmed by the Senate, which would be a difficult fight. Yeah, because everybody's against the Trump agenda and to get rid of this garbage of a hoax investigation. You see, it's just, frustrating. He could install an interim attorney general directly after ousting Sessions, although some legal experts argue that the powers of such an interim appointee would be limited. We have somebody that they seem to like to go after a lot of Republicans, Trump said of Sessions in an interview with Fox News that aired Thursday, adding that the inability of his attorney general to control his department was a regrettable thing. Grassley has time. Asked about a possible replacement for Sessions, Grassley took a different position from a year ago when he warned the White House he didn't have time to do another confirmation hearing that year. I do have time for hearings on nominees that the president might send up here that I didn't have last year, Grassley of Iowa said Thursday. Grassley has clashed with Sessions this year because of the Attorney General's intense opposition to Grassley's efforts to pass a criminal justice overhaul. Grassley said, though, that Kavanaugh's confirmation would take precedence over any other nominees Trump might send to the Senate. Well, I agree with that. Get Kavanaugh in and then go after the swamp full speed ahead. Grassley declined to comment specifically on the fate of Sessions when asked about Graham's prediction the president will replace him after the election. Senator Tom Tillis, another Republican member of the Judiciary Committee, said he hopes Trump keeps Sessions, saying he has full confidence in the Attorney General. Where? What did Sessions do that was so great about the Russian collusion and everything else that's taken place? I hope to see him there all the way through 2020. Yeah, we're doomed if he's there till 2020 at the pace he's going. Tillis of North Carolina said, I know Jeff Sessions well, served with him. He is one of the fairest people I know, high integrity. That's what they talk high integrity about Mueller. And that's what we need in that office. Oh, he's one of the fairest people. He goes after pot smokers. Yeah, that's how fair he is. And he allows the criminals to run rampant in our government. Anyway, let me know what you guys think. I say Trump should go full speed ahead right after he gets Kavanaugh in. And the midterms are over. Go full speed ahead. That's it. And knock them all out. Whoever you don't like, just get them out. And start prosecuting people. Whether you do it through the court systems or whatever, or you're going to do military tribunals. Let's get on with this, because enough is enough already. We're sick and tired of hearing this Mueller witch hunt continue on on a phony dossier. You know, I mean, come on. And then they're talking about Sessions. What? What is he doing? Oh, I forgot. He got Uber. So why are all the people like Fitton and everybody else saying that they need a special counsel? You know, and forget about it now. Now it's just a waste of time. Probably the statute of limitations ran out on Hillary. Who knows by this time? Come on now. You know, this is getting pointless, you know. And I don't even know why Trump got into all of this, to clean up America. I don't know. But, you know, I got news for you. The muddy waters run so deep that it is disgusting at this point. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. And again, thank you so much for watching.
Man, I like the gotcha lady. She gets fired up. She definitely sees what's going on. I like her. All right.
Trump praised this conservative CNN contributor. Now he's been suspended by Amy Moreno for TruthFeedNews.com. In yet another biased and anti-Trump move, CNN has suddenly suspended their pro-Trump black pundit, Paris Dennard, right after President Trump tweeted support for him. Do you think this is a coincidence? From the Daily Wire, pro-Trump CNN commentator Paris Dennard made national headlines late last week after he was berated by CNN FBI analyst Phil Mudd during a segment which caught President Donald Trump's attention. Mudd, who used the word on CNN to prove he's not a racist, berated Dennard on Friday for comments he made about former law enforcement officials using their security clearances to get themselves high-paying gigs when they quit working for the government. The segment went viral and quickly caught Trump's attention. Just watch former intelligence official Philip Mudd become totally unglued and weird while debating wonderful Paris Dennard over Brennan's security clearance, Trump tweeted. Dennard destroyed him, but Mudd is in no mental condition to have such a clearance, should be revoked. Following Trump's tweet, the Washington Post conducted an investigation into Denard and reported the following. A conservative commentator who was lauded by President Trump this week as wonderful and who has argued that past sexual indiscretions should have no bearing on Trump's presidency was fired from Arizona State University 4 years ago for making sexually explicit comments and gestures towards women, according to documents and a university official. The Post report goes on to mention that Denard did not dispute those claims, but said he committed the acts jokingly. Shortly after the report was published, CNN suspended Denard. We are aware of reports of accusations against Paris Denard, CNN said in a statement. We are suspending Paris effective immediately while we look into the allegations. Denard responded to the allegations by telling the Post this is sadly another politically motivated attempt to besmirch my character and shame me into silence for my support of President Trump and the GOP. Exactly that. Exactly that. Oh, come on. Give it a break. I mean, really? Really? Oh, but they didn't look into this before they hired him, right? But they're looking into it to get any dirt because they don't want a black person speaking out positively about President Trump and the corruption that goes on in the deep state and these shills that make money off of their security clearances. They don't want this info reaching the American public, okay? And that's basically the bottom line. I mean, really? Really? Could they think of another thing to come up with? Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. And again, thank you so much for watching.
Yeah. Right, Bruce. Yeah, I've never seen her face. I don't know what she looks like. I don't know what her name is. It's cool. I mean, you know, she's keeping her privacy or whatever, but I wish she'd at least tell us what her name is. Alrighty. And now, State Department. Urgent briefing on South Africa land seizures.
An odd welcome, man.
Well, I was sincere.
We're thrilled to have you.
Yes, it's good. It's good for you to have a
team
deputy
on the field.
Exactly.
Okay.
Let's start with South Africa. You will have seen, I'll bet, hard to miss, the president's tweet last night in which he instructed Secretary Pompeo to look into land expropriations and from white farmers in South Africa. I'm wondering if the Secretary takes this seriously at all. And then the reason I'm asking that is because I went to the Human Rights Report for South Africa, the one that the State Department puts out, and it doesn't mention anything about this being a problem. I would think that this is the report where it would mention it. In fact, when it talks about discrimination, it says most of it is directed at blacks. And the incidents of racism that it points out are all directed at blacks as well. So does the Secretary actually intend to look into this?
Well, I can tell you that the Secretary and the President certainly discussed it. The President asked the Secretary to look closely at the current state of action in South Africa related to land reform. This is something that has been going on for many decades, the conversation and debate about land reform there. I should mention that the expropriation of land without compensation, our position is that that would risk sending South Africa down the wrong path. We continue to encourage a peaceful and transparent public debate about what we consider to be a very important issue, and the South Africans certainly do as well.
Right, but is this something that was a concern of yours before the president tweeted? And you mentioned that 13 or 14 ambassadorial nominations have gone up. You might get on the phone and call the ambassador to South Africa if there was one, but there isn't.
Matt, as you well know, we are working very hard to get our team on the field. But Nominations are, may I finish? Yeah. Nominations are announced by the White House. The Secretary has done a terrific job of getting more people in place. It doesn't happen overnight. We also need the cooperation of the U.S. Senate to get our folks through, and they have pledged that they would get them through expeditiously.
That's fine, but does the embassy think that this is a serious problem?
I can tell you that our embassy has had meetings with the South African government. Anything additional beyond that, I just don't have it. Hi.
Say when the president and the secretary had the discussion?
I would say sometime in the last day or so.
In the last day, meaning in the last 24 hours?
The last day or so. That's all I'm aware of. Okay. Hi. Go ahead.
So apparently the U.S. chargé was summoned by the South Africans today.
I know that they met today. I don't have a readout of that meeting, but they did meet today.
Was that at the request of the South Africans?
I don't know who requested it, but I can confirm that they did meet today.
So does the U.S. believe that, from what you've seen, and I believe that there's been meetings between the two sides on this, believe that what's going on, that the South African land policy would be similar to that of the land grabs that we saw in Zimbabwe?
Well, I think the situation between South Africa and also Zimbabwe are quite different. It may be easy for some to try to draw a comparison, but there are very big differences. In Zimbabwe, we saw the government there squash civil society, shut down the media from doing their jobs and reporting, and destroyed an independent judiciary. And we have not seen that happen in South Africa. So I think they're different situations altogether.
So given that, according to the State Department's own reporting that Matt mentioned, discrimination and actions against blacks in South Africa is a far, far bigger problem than this. What is the Secretary's view on what is happening right now, and what is he going to do after the
I can just tell you that it was discussed with the president, and he will focus on this issue, and I'll leave it at that.
What does focus on it mean?
Well, he will take a look at it, just as he had discussed with the president. Hi, Francesco.
An option you will look at?
You know we would never forecast that, but that is such a hypothetical. That is a hypothetical. No, that's a hypothetical, and I'm not going to comment on it.
Is the department aware of, is the embassy aware of, concerned that there are land seizures going on without any compensation?
You know, I can just tell you this is obviously an issue, a debate that's been going on for quite some time. We encourage an expropriation of land without compensation would risk sending South Africa down the wrong path. We encourage a peaceful and transparent public debate about this important issue that seems to be happening in South Africa right now. If policies are poorly implemented, there are potentially detrimental political, socioeconomic, and other issues.
So you're aware of a plan being debated by the South African government that would seize white-owned farms or land without any compensation?
Matt, I'm just saying that expropriation of land without compensation would not be a good thing. It would send them down the wrong path.
Is there any reason to be concerned about that?
Matt, that's just what I'm telling you right now, okay? Thank you.
Did the Secretary...
Last one, then we're going to move on. I don't have anything further for you on this.
Did the Secretary correct some of the reporting and maybe views that the President holds on this issue? Did he explain to the President what actually is happening?
Michelle, you know we never get into the private conversations between the Secretary and the President on any issue, for that matter. Okay? Hi, Lori.
Hi. President Erdogan's spokesman complained yesterday about U.S. procedures against Health Bank. Could you comment on his remarks and explain the situation regarding that bank?
Yeah, Lori, I'm sorry, I have not seen those remarks just yet. I can look into it and see if I can find something for you. I just have personally not seen those.
Well, he said, I can tell you, quote, he says unacceptable and certain baseless and false allegations were made against the bank. You don't.
I think that would fall under Department of Justice and also Treasury as well. But again, I'm hesitant to comment on anything that I haven't seen myself, but I appreciate your work to try to synthesize it for me.
Okay, another question then. Russia has announced that it will move up the scheduled delivery of the S-400 air defense missile to Turkey from 2020, which it was originally scheduled, to 2019. What is your response to that?
Well, if that is the case, and I've not seen that report myself either, but that would be a concern of ours. You know, it goes against our policy to have a NATO ally such as Turkey use an S-400 system. Part of the problem with that is that it is not interoperable with other NATO systems. And so we are against the having some of our partners and allies around the world potentially purchase S-400s.
And it would trigger CATSA sanctions?
I'm
too?
not going to get into that, but we have made very clear what could trigger sanctions for other countries and entities around the world. Okay, hey, Rich.
Hey, Heather. Pakistan is asking for an immediate correction to the readout that you guys provided this morning on the telephone conversation between the new prime minister there, that it is factually incorrect that they discussed the terrorists operating in Pakistan. So is there a correction, or are they wrong?
Yes, so you saw our readout. In the readout, the secretary notes that he spoke with the new prime minister and expressed his willingness to work with the new government toward a productive bilateral relationship. They had a good call. That may surprise some of you, but they had a good call. Pakistan is an important partner to the United States. We hope to forge a good, productive working relationship with the new civilian government. My understanding is that the beginning of the call, or the call itself, was a good call and a good discussion toward our working with the new government and the new administration.
So the U.S. government continues to stand by the readout, that there's no connection to the readout?
We stand by our readout.
Okay.
When you just mentioned the readout and read almost the whole thing, you didn't mention the fact that terrorism was discussed. So are you saying that terrorism was discussed in the call?
I'm saying we stand by our readout. I don't necessarily read an entire readout word for word for you here at the podium.
Do you know how it is that the Pakistanis could have gotten this so
Matt, I'm
wrong?
not going to speculate.
Well,
okay?
but I mean,
and I can't speak on their behalf. I can
But
only say we stand by our readout. They're an important partner. The secretary had a good call with the new prime minister, and we look forward to having
Okay. So, in other words, can you
a good
just-
relationship with them in the future.
Can you just say in clear English there will not be an apology forthcoming? There will not be a correction?
Matt, those are your words. We stand
Well,
by we stand by our readout.
Does the U.S. and the State Department and the Secretary still stand behind the comments the Secretary made earlier about an IMF bailout and there should not be one for Pakistan?
I don't see that our position has changed in any way, but I'm not going to forecast anything that could happen in the future. Hey, Jessica.
Hi, can you confirm that the Secretary has asked Salman Khalilzad to be the new special representative to Afghanistan?
We have no personnel announcements. If I had an announcement to make, I would be thrilled to bring it to you today. We've obviously had a great day with Steve Biegun being announced as our new special envoy handling North Korea. So, yeah. Hi, Janny. How are you?
On North Korea and South Korea. As you know that the South Korean government announced that South and North Korea will open liaison office soon. Do you think this will have a negative impact on denuclearization?
I mean, we're certainly aware that North Korea and South Korea are talking about opening a joint liaison office there. I think I'd go back to something that President Moon had said not too long ago, and that is his opinion and his stance that the improvement of relations between the North and South can't advance separately from resolving North Korea's nuclear program. We closely coordinate with both the Japanese and the South Koreans. I just mentioned the Japanese because our close allies there as well. So we continue to coordinate closely and have lots of conversations with them about a lot of things.
But South Korea providing a lot of things like goods, energy to North Korea. Is this a violation of sanctions against North Korea? What will it?
We would take a look at all of that. Okay.
Can you just be a little bit more specific where the Secretary was about his travel to North Korea next week? When exactly is he going with the new special envoy?
We are leaving relatively soon. Exact time and date, I don't know, but we'll be headed out soon.
And is he going anywhere else?
Not to my knowledge. I'll let you know if we have any additional stops to announce. Okay? Hi, Francesca.
The Secretary said he was looking forward to have progress, diplomatic progress towards denuclearization. Can you tell us what exactly he expects from this trip? Are there some steps he would like North Korean to announce to take on the
I think we'll say this. The conversations continue. We have made significant movements over the past 6 months. In fact, we've had more conversations and consultations with the North Koreans in 6 months than we have in virtually the past 10 years. So we think we're on fairly strong footing here. We look forward to having those conversations. I'm not going to get ahead of the Secretary's meetings by highlighting what we are going to be expecting or asking of them. I can just tell you the consultations will continue, and I imagine you'll see more meetings and trips ahead.
But Heather,
Elise.
just to confirm, the Secretary is expected to meet with Kim Jong-un.
No, No, we have no plans for a meeting of that sort, but I'll let you know any additional details as we get them.
I mean, this would be the second time that he's traveled there without meeting with Kim Jong-un. I mean, if you've said like a lot of times that, Kim is the kind of ultimate decision maker. So what is the, obviously there could be, his envoy could go and meet with Kim's envoy, but why would the secretary continue to go to North Korea if he's not going to be able to meet with the key decision maker?
I think what's important is that we are regularizing these meetings and these conversations with a government that we have had very, very little interaction with over the past decade or so. The secretary has now appointed Steve Biegun, and Biegun will be picking up some of those meetings that perhaps the secretary normally would have gone on or would have conducted. So I think this is just sort of the more of a normalization of our types of conversations. We have long said that none of this, in terms of working toward denuclearization, would be particularly fast. We go into this eyes wide open, but this is all going to take some time, and I think we've been clear about that.
Are you saying that a meeting with Kim isn't scheduled, or he's not expecting to meet with him at all?
We don't have that scheduled. We have no expectations of meeting with Chairman Kim. That is not a part of this trip. Okay? I will. Those are all the details that I have right now. I'm not going to get into it beyond that. When I do have additional information, I'd be happy to bring it to you. Hold on. We've talked a bunch of times already. Let me just get over to Kylie.
A little unclear as to Steve Biegun's background, how it's been so focused on Asia and North Korea. Can you elaborate on that a little bit in terms of why he was chosen for this position?
Well, Steve has certainly spent time in and around the region, has spent considerable time on behalf of Ford covering Asian nations. Steve, in having served as the head of international relations for Ford Motor Company, as the vice president of international government affairs, knows his way around the block, knows his way around so many of these nations around the world, and has negotiated on behalf of that major auto corporation. And he will take those skills and abilities and apply them to this task. The secretary is really good at determining talent and getting his people on the field. That is something that's important to him. And in picking Steve for this role, he picked the person he felt was best suited for this job.
But why not pick someone who's sat across from the North Koreans in negotiations in the past?
I think he has an excellent pick in Steve, and the secretary's comfortable with Steve, and Steve has his full confidence, and so do we as well.
Do you happen to know if he's ever been to North Korea?
I don't offhand. No, I don't.
Certainly not in his job at Ford, I would hope.
I don't.
That would be a
I don't know the answer.
violation of
I don't know the answer to that. But he's a well-traveled guy, and I hope he's ready to travel a lot for this job too, because it certainly requires that. Hey Ben, I don't know the answer to that.
Going back to the liaison office.
Yes.
Foreign Minister Kang said that South Korea was waiting on an endorsement from Washington before they moved ahead. And also there's been some concerns. South Korean government is supposed to be providing fuel oil and electricity for this liaison office. Would that be a violation of UN sanctions?
I think to the second part of your question, Janie already asked that. We would certainly look at that, whether or not that would be a violation of sanctions. And to your first question, I just don't have anything for you on that, whether we were needed to sign some sort of a certificate of sorts. Okay.
Would you say that in order to take these meetings next week, North Korea had to show something or do something to indicate there was more willingness or readiness? Like, did they have to meet some expectation before the secretary would go?
Michelle, I don't understand the point of your question. We are continuing to have conversations and consultations with the North Korean government. Our goal is the denuclearization of North Korea. Right. That goal has not changed. We continue to have conversations with them. Much of those conversations, I will not be detailing for you here from this podium. The conversations continue to take place.
But you've also said that your patience is not unlimited, and you need to see some progress from North Korea. And the trip was announced the same week that the IAEA came out with this report that said that that it has grave concern that North Korea is still continuing to develop its nuclear capabilities and nothing has abated at all. So at what point do you say that we can't continue the conversations unless there's progress. Otherwise, you're just giving North Korea time.
I think
to
I would
continue
look
to
back to how long we've been having these conversations and look at the Secretary's first trip to North Korea before he was here at the State Department. That was in April, so just several months ago. I know you all want to speed up these things. I know you want it to happen overnight, but this issue is going to take some time, and we've been very clear about that. We've been very upfront about how this will take some time. As to your question about the IAEA, we share these concerns. I think the Secretary has addressed that in some of his congressional testimony, and we're working forward to implement the agreements that came out of the Singapore summit. So we'll keep working at it. Hey.
If meeting Kim Jong-un is not a part of your plan, do you expect at least get a list from the North Korea of their nuclear program?
I'm not going to get into or ahead of the Secretary's meeting on that front, okay? Okay. Yes, go right ahead.
2 questions, please. Thank you. As far as U.S.-India relations are concerned, in the next few weeks, we are going to have 2+2 in New Delhi rather than in Washington, and 2 secretaries of defense and state will be in New Delhi to discuss the issues. What are we expecting from these talks there as far as U.S.-India relations are concerned?
Well, we haven't announced any trips yet, but when we do, I'll be sure to let you know. But as you well know, we have a good working relationship with the government of India, and if and when we travel there, we look forward to having those meetings. Yeah.
And second, yesterday, General talking live from Afghanistan, he said that as far as terrorism in Afghanistan or peace in Afghanistan is concerned, Pakistan is not doing enough going after Haqqani networks or other terrorist groups inside Pakistan, and it's now up to the State Department diplomatically what they have to do as far as the new government is concerned. My question is that Afghan government and the people in Afghanistan are still blaming Pakistan as far as peace not in Afghanistan or terrorism in Pakistan, in Afghanistan.
Well, I think you're referring to General Nicholson's briefing that he provided, and there's one part of that I'd like to highlight, and that he said wars end with a political settlement. There is not a military solution to this 17-year-long war in Afghanistan, and I think you see that reflected in his comments. There's a lot of work that is left to be done. Many of you probably saw the Secretary's statement that he put out that in support of President Ghani's call for a ceasefire. We're certainly hopeful. We hope that that ceasefire will take effect and will hold so that Afghans can have the peace that they so dearly need and want.
Madam, one thing is clear that there cannot be a peace in Afghanistan as far as many U.S. and Afghani officials and think tanks that unless Pakistan is fully cooperative with Afghanistan and U.S. So what are we expecting now from the new Prime Minister, Mr. Imran Khan of Pakistan, because he is, I think, serious to have talks with the U.S. and Afghanistan?
Yeah, I think I would just say that the Secretary had a good initial call with him, and we'll have more on that in the days and weeks ahead.
So
Okay.
your friends in Moscow, or maybe they're not your friends, but your counterparts in Moscow say that the Secretary and former Mr. Lavrov had a call today that focused on Syria. I'm just wondering if you can confirm and or elaborate on that, and also tell us if the new special is it envoy or representative? I can't remember.
Representative.
Representative Jeffrey has got any Syria-related travel or events?
Certainly, and that was one we were really happy to have been able to announce last week. Jim Jeffries joining the State Department. I can confirm that the Secretary did speak with Foreign Minister Lavrov earlier today. He spoke with Sergei Lavrov about the Ukrainian political prisoner Ola Sentsov, who has been on a hunger strike for more than 3 months in a Russian prison now. The Secretary noted our concerns about Sentsov's health and urged Russia to immediately release Sentsov and all Ukrainian political prisoners. The Secretary discussed the ongoing challenges in Syria and the United States' serious concerns related to possible military activity in Idlib. He also asked Foreign Minister Lavrov to support efforts in the Organization for the Prohibition of Chemical Weapons, OPCW, as well as efforts to hold the Syrian regime accountable for its use of chemical weapons. And we can give you that paper readout in just a bit.
Anything about the relating to the conversations about that Ambassador Bolton had with his counterpart in Geneva about getting Russia to help get the Iranians out of Syria? Was that an issue that Secretary Pompeo discussed?
I'm not sure if that came up on the call or not. I'm sorry, I just can't comment on that.
Is the Secretary planning
on bringing the Rocket Man CD back to North Korea with me?
You know what I'm going to bring to North Korea with me, and I'll show this to you. My best friend from junior high school, you'll love the story, Julie Michaelchuk. She lives in Peru, Illinois. Sent me this Flat Stanley. This is what I'm going to bring to North Korea. Flat Stanley, because Julie has been asking me where her daughter's Flat Stanley is, and I have yet to bring Flat Stanley anywhere other than this briefing room. As exotic as all of you are, I think North Korea is a little bit better.
Kim Jong-un might not understand what you're trying to say.
Yeah, wouldn't that be great though?
But,
Do you think
he
this
might
is the
think it's
first
him.
Flat Stanley to head to North Korea?
It looks a little like Kim Jong-un. But are you going to bring the Elton John CD?
I don't have anything that I'm bringing along with me other than some comfortable clothes.
Eagles' Greatest Hits is quite popular now.
Good to know.
As an outsold thriller.
Okay. Sure. And then I'm going to have to wrap it up.
Yeah, this is a question actually by some TV colleagues who had to leave because of the briefing's late. But the question is, there's a few Republican senators that have written a letter actually to Treasury, and I'm not sure if it's State Department, calling for the Iran to be discontinued from SWIFT, which is the payment system which would affect students, and there's bigger implications for it. Do you know anything about that, or that request, or whether the U.S. is planning?
I will have to take that question and get back to you.
Thank you.
Not ashamed to say that. All right. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you soon.
All righty. So that's the last of the news I got for tonight. But there's always this. All right, I think we've gotten through the end of that one. I love that medieval music, man. I can listen to that shit for hours. Sometimes I do. A nice bowl of something green and a couple hours of medieval Celtic music. I'm down. Let's see, what time is it? 11 o'clock. Oh, well. Looks like we get to chat over the aquarium for about a half hour until it's time to do the swampy song. back. Gotta find my swampy home. Gotta find my way back. Back to the swamp where I belong. Been gone such a long time. Mama, I'm coming home. Been gone such a long time. Mama, I'm coming home. Gotta find my way back. Gotta find my Louisiana home. Gotta find my way back. Way down south where I belong. Been 10 years in prison. Mama, I'm coming home. Where the bodies in the swamp were hidden. Mama, I'm coming home. No, I took the money. I took the money and I hid it good. No, I took the money, buried it deep out in them woods. 10 years in prison. Mama, I'm coming home. Where the bodies in the swamp were hidden. Mama, I'm coming home. Gotta find my way back. Gotta find my swampy home. Gotta find my way back. Deep in the swamp where I belong. Been gone such a long time. Mama, I'm coming home. Been gone such a long time. Mama, I'm coming home. Oh yeah. Get that crawfish pie ready, Mama. And that dilly gumbo. You don't know what I've been eating. Hell yeah. What's up, Ivana? All right, guys. Good night. Be blessed. I'll be praying for the ones that need prayer. Hell, I'll be praying for the ones that don't necessarily need it. Throw an extra prayer out there for everybody. Y'all be good. Or at least be good at it.